Hi there. In this episode, a review of the Lexicon Pcm 81 digital multi-effects processor, which I'm going to refer to as the Pcm 81 or just as the 81. I've owned my Pcm 81 since the year 2000 and the unit was released circa 1998. I purchased mine used for $1,000 with the Pcm 80 Dual Effects card, which was a great deal back then. More on that later. I'm going to start you off with the sound demos, and then I'll give you the specs, features, upgrade options, plus my opinion. Let's get on with this. Hopefully the demos worked for you. And there is something that I should have said when I did a recent review of the Lexicon MPX 500 and 550. There are so many patches, so many algorithms, so many parameters, and there's so many ways to use an effects processor like this. It's hard to give you something meaningful and useful in a 20-minute video, but I've done my best. When it comes to high-end effects processors, especially ones from this era or prior, the two big names that I think of are Lexicon and Eventide. I hung around and worked at some studios in the 80s, and if you owned a PCM 70 and a U87, you rocked. And I was very envious of those people. I definitely wanted a PCM 70 and a U87. It is important to know that the PCM 81 and the PCM 91 were released together, with the PCM 81 replacing the PCM 80 and the PCM 91 replacing the PCM 90. A lot of people think that the PCM 90 and the 91 are the newer units, but it's the 81 and the 91 which are newer. The 81 is about reverb and multi-effects, and the 91 is all about reverb. In the 81, you get one Lexi chip dedicated to reverb and a Motorola chip dedicated to the other effects. In the 91, you get two Lexi chips. The PCM 81 includes the algorithms from the PCM 80 vocal effects card. PCM 80 users had to pay extra for this card. More on that later. Delay time is a generous 20 seconds compared to the 5.5 seconds of the MPX 550 and the 500 that I recently reviewed. The unit comes with 17 algorithms, and you can add more with the optional PCM CIA cards. Sonically, the PCM 81 is a beast, but it's not necessarily a specifications winner on paper. Like I said a moment ago, I recently reviewed the Lexicon MPX 500 and MPX 550, both which have 24-bit A to D and D to A at 44.1 and 48 kHz. The PCM 81, on the other hand, has a 24-bit internal signal path. However, the D to A and A to D is 20-bit, or 24-bit depending on what you want to believe. The marketing materials state that the PCM 81 has D to A and A to D that is 24-bit. The manual says that it's 20-bit, and the marketing materials for the PCM 91 state that the A to D and D to A is 20-bit. The A to D signal-to-noise ratio is listed as 102 decibels compared to the MPX 500 series' 105 decibels. The D to A signal-to-noise ratio is listed at 98 dB compared to the MPX 500 series' 101 dB. Based on these signal-to-noise ratios, I believe the A to D and D to A on the PCM 81 is 20-bit, and the marketing people just got it wrong. Or maybe they were puffing, who knows. Regardless, the consensus of the majority is that the 81 sounds better, a lot better than the 500 series. And it should, because it's a lot more expensive, even on the used market, right? A welcome feature of the PCM 81 is relays on the audio output that prevent speaker pops when you turn the device on. Looking at the front panel from left to right, we start with a vertically oriented VU meter for each channel. Next is a rotary input trim that is smooth with enough turning resistance to feel solid and precise. Next is the display and its two lines of 20 characters. Not great and certainly not as good as what you find on the 500 series. Then you'll find two rotary continuous controllers that click when you turn them to precisely set values and select parameters and options. The first controller is used to adjust values, and the second is used to select parameters and options. The soft knobs on the MPX 500 series make editing a little faster, but getting around the PCM 81 is fairly easy, even though it has a ton of parameters. One very cool feature is that you can select Go mode or Pro mode. In Go mode, you get quick access to 10 user-selectable parameters. Essentially, it's a favorites list of parameters. In Pro mode, you get all the parameters, and there are tons of them. Next are two rows of 6 buttons. The first two are increment and decrement buttons above each other, and their function varies depending on where you are in the menu system. The other buttons are labeled Program Banks, Register Banks, Edit Control, Tempo, Load, Store, Compare, Bypass, and Tap. All of these buttons, except for the Tap button, have an integrated LED. Next is a memory card slot with an associated eject button. This is a PCM CIA card slot, which was all the rage at the end of the millennium. My unit came with the Lexicon Pcm80 Dual Effects version 1.0 card. These cards tend to be expensive, and you'll find them listed on Reverb and eBay for $250 to $500. I'm not sure how many cards were made or the types of cards, but I've seen 4 different types of cards. The Dual Effects version 1.0 card includes 25 new algorithms and 250 programs across 5 banks of presets. It's easy to identify this card because it has the same blue highlighting as the PCM81 itself. These are straight-ahead multi-effects, just like the ones that are already in the PCM81, but based on the new algorithms. The Pitch Effects version 1.1 card includes 6 new algorithms and 100 programs across 2 banks. These are pitch, harmony, and utility programs. A lot of people used to rave about the Guitar Magic patches, but I never used them because I didn't play guitar back then. What is nice is those patches are in the 81. This card is trimmed in purple. The Vocal Fix card includes 1 new algorithm for intelligent pitch shifting. It is set up for use with a MIDI keyboard. It was somewhat revolutionary at the time, but everyone doing studio work these days uses a DAW plugin for pitch correction, like Auto-Tune or Waves Tune. This card is trimmed in dark green. The Scott Martin Gershon Post Effects card is probably the least desirable of the bunch. It doesn't include any new algorithms. Instead, it's simply a memory card with 100 programs across 2 program banks. This card is trimmed in light green. Overall, I would say these cards are not of much value today. If you buy an effects device that can use one of these cards and it just happens to come with the card, fine. But I wouldn't pay the ridiculous prices people are asking for them. Neither would I seek them out. In my opinion, they're just not worth having these days. One trick that not everyone knows is that when you turn the unit on, and I'm talking specifically about the 81, it loads the card into internal memory. This means that if you have multiple units that use these cards, you can insert a card, turn the unit on, and wait for it to go through its initialization process. Then you can remove the card and place it in another unit. I know that this works with the 81, and it probably works with the 91 too, since they were released together, but I don't know for sure. For other units like the 90 and the 91, you'll have to try it, and if somebody knows for sure, perhaps they can make a comment. Lastly, you'll find a power button. On the back panel from left to right, you'll find a standard 3-prong IEC power connector. Then a MIDI in, out, and through on standard 5-pin DIN connectors. And it's kind of nice that they gave you a through. Next are the digital connections that include SPDIF in and out on RCA connectors and AES EBU on XLR connectors. The PCM80 doesn't include AES EBU, and the analog connectivity is on 1/4-inch jacks only, so the 81 is a big upgrade. Next are 2 1/4-inch inputs, one labeled foot switch and the other foot controller. The foot switch input is for momentary control, like toggling the bypass, but it can also be assigned to parameters for some crazy control, and you can actually connect 2 foot switches to this one port. The foot controller can send continuous controller information to parameters for even more control. If you connect a MIDI keyboard controller, you can create additional mayhem with sliders, knobs, buttons, and the keys targeting parameters. Lastly, you'll find the analog inputs and outputs on both balanced 1/4-inch and XLR connectors. It's good to know that several of the preset effects programs are already set for use with external control, like the foot switches and the MIDI keyboard. Overall, the connectivity is excellent, and the front panel is laid out nicely and easy to get around. You get 300 presets with 50 user programs. There's 1 through 6 voices of delay, 4 voices of pitch shifting, and there are as many as 100 parameters to edit. Remember, all the time-based and other effects don't affect the quality of the reverb. This device has 2 processors, and the Lexi chip is discretely assigned to handle reverb. This is one very advanced and amazing sounding multi-effects processor, even in 2025. It's incredibly deep. The manual is 174 pages. The beauty of all those parameters is the depth of programming you can do to create effects people still haven't heard today, and you don't have to engage a parameter unless you want to do so. The PCM81 weighs 6.4 pounds, which is 2.9 kilos, compared to the Lexicon MPX 550, which only weighs 3 pounds or 1.36 kilos. It's more than twice the weight. It has a deep form factor, and it's well built and feels sturdy. Just for reference, and because I own one, a Roland Dep 5 weighs 11 pounds. That's 5 kilos, and it's one of the heaviest multi-effects processors I've ever used. I'm working on a review of the Dep 5. That'll be coming out shortly. The bottom line is that the PCM81 sounds excellent. It has a lot of features, and hardware processors are still relevant today. I think you can tell that I love this processor. I wish I had 3 of them, or perhaps an Eventide, which is something I've always wanted but never owned due to the price. These processors sell on the used market in the range of $900 to $1,200, which is what I paid 25 years ago. So it just tells you they're holding their value. People are holding on to their high-end multi-effects processors these days. I used to see a dozen on Reverb and eBay, but not anymore. Please think about subscribing, or just subscribe. That way you don't have to buy me anything for Christmas. Thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you in another episode soon.